lightning and the thunder.
But after all these years, I'm still scared of thunder.
It's time for Middays with Thunder with Mitch Nelles, broadcasting live from the 1250 AM and 105.7 FM The Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook.
This is Middays with Thunder. Welcome to hour number 3. We're here Monday through Friday, 11 to 2, taking you right up to Steve, Sparky, Pfeiffer, and Wisconsin Sports Daily. The Brewers offense struggled in Texas last night in a loss to the Rangers. We'll go inside the clubhouse with Forbes Brewers writer Drew Wagner this afternoon at 3:20 on Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's right here on the Fan. D-Wags will be on the show. Charlie, you go big with D-Wags?
I wouldn't say D-Wags is what I would call him.
No?
No, I don't think he'd like that one.
I think he likes it a lot more than Andy.
You think?
Andy.
Yeah. I've never called him Andy. He feels like a guy that would not appreciate Andy, though. Yeah.
I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe 100 years ago, when he and I were alive and you weren't alive yet, I feel like that was his AOL chat. I think it was D-Wags.
All right.
I could be.
Maybe I'll hit him with it and I'll tell him that I knew it was his AOL.
I could be mixing him up because I did know another Drew Wagner. He was the younger brother of my friend Brad Wagner. I think he was D-Wags. With a Z. You got to be with a Z, right?
Would it flabbergast you at all that I know AOL, but I don't really know what it is?
Yeah, you're an idiot. It's not your fault.
All right, that's fair.
You're young and with youth is stupidity. And that's not your fault.
That's fair. Yeah.
You're just young.
I'm still learning. Yeah.
Right. Are you curious?
I guess.
Or are you judgmental?
I'm not judgmental. I'm curious.
Have you seen Ted Lasso?
I have not.
So you've not, and Tommy has not?
No.
Are we in sports radio even?
Yeah, but it's an Apple TV show.
I'm not telling.
Have Apple TV.
I'm not telling you to go watch all the episodes of Seinfeld, which is something you should watch.
I've seen episodes of Seinfeld.
Right, which is great. It's a start. But I feel like Ted Lasso is pretty common in the zeitgeist.
Maybe for old people, I guess.
I don't think for old people. I think for everybody.
Yeah, my friends have seen it.
Right, exactly. I think that's a thing. So, regardless of all that, so AOL was just an email platform, but it also had chat rooms. The biggest thing with it was so you know how you text with people, or how do you chat with people?
Just text or Snapchat.
Or Snapchat.
One of those.
Do you G-chat with anybody?
No.
Because you have that ability from your work email address to G-chat with people.
No, I just text people.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Or Snap. You said you Snap?
Yeah, that's usually with my friends.
Right. No. I'm saying with your friends. How do you keep it? Yeah, you Snap with them. So before there was Snap, there were 700 things. And before that, there was AOL. Okay. And AOL Instant Messaging was the GOAT of all the platforms. And even before, even as Instant Messaging was there, chat rooms. What's your age? What's your, location? Are you a boy or a girl? All that sort of stuff. ASL was that was the big question. Okay. All right. That's enough of AOL. That's enough of AOL.
I appreciate the history lesson.
The best part of AOL is that every month in the mail, you would get a CD in the mail that you would then install onto your computer, and it would install the AOL software. And every CD came with its own deal. So free for 3 months or a half off for 6 months. And it's who's paying? The thing, we used to have to pay for phone calls, right? You never had to.
No, I did. We had phone plans and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And now there's not. There's a phone plan.
You used to have unlimited now,
right. Yeah. You used to have to pay for by the minute.
Yeah, we had to pay for minutes too. Me and my sister would run through our minutes really fast, and my dad would always get mad at us.
I believe that. As he should have. You deserved it.
Right.
This is Middays with Thunder. Do you remember paying for individual phone calls? Man, I sure hope so. Does having a star like Micah Parsons take some of the pressure off Jordan Love? Off of Jordan Love? I don't know if I need the of in there. I didn't put it in there. As a grammarian, I like to be a minimalist as well. So I like the word that. I will delete the word that in any editing I ever do. There's no need for the word that ever. Unless you're using it specifically to point out something. But so many people use the word that just superfluously in their speech.
Good to know.
Man, there's a lot of words you need to look up now. Zeitgeist, superfluously.
Well, I know zeitgeist.
Do you?
Yeah.
All right. Good. All right.
Some words.
So LT, who's a Cowboys fan, writes in, you mean great early in the season, bothered by injuries, and then no show in big games late in the season or out? Probably not at 47 million per.
Why are people so negative, man?
I mean, he's actually like a like hardcore wears his star around every Sunday Southeastern Wisconsin Cowboys fan.
Would he have said that if Micah Parsons was still a Cowboy, or is that a salty Cowboys fan?
I actually think he might have, but not to that extent. Okay. There's definitely some salt in there. Andy says depends on the performance of the defense. If the defense is able to pitch shutouts, then play calling can be more relaxed. To me, yes, shutouts, but when you dominate a team like they did on Sunday, again, giving up 6 points until the very end, I think that that wasn't a shutout, but that was a dominant defensive performance. And that was Micah Parsons at 50%. Like that wasn't even the full Micah Parsons experience or project, if you will. Has anybody talked about the Micah Parsons project?
I don't think so.
Do you know what the Alan Parsons project is?
No. I don't know lots of things, man. Like you said, I'm stupid. I'm still learning.
Aren't you a Bulls fan?
Yeah. But like basketball is definitely the third sport on my list, so I'm more of like a Bucks fan now, especially working at this station.
Have you ever seen, let's see where this goes. I gotta play the ad first. Man, YouTube is the worst. Remember when everything on the internet was free? You don't. But it's still the Wild West. Mm-hmm. Like if you're doing a podcast, you can still like F-bomb as much as you want. Oh, this just started straight into the song. It wasn't with the intro. All right. Well, I'll figure it out later. Because I don't want to tell you what it is. Okay. I want to surprise you. Mike writes in a way, yes. His presence hopefully keeps our opponent's score lower because of tough defense and pressure on the quarterback. That put Love in a competitive position instead of Hail Marys to catch up. Does that make any sense? Kind of. Like, I don't know that we're looking for Hail Marys to catch up in games. But if the defense is doing its job better, it does give Love a better competitive position. I will give you that. Michael writes in, not to be confused with Mike, you better believe it. As a Browns fan, I've seen the impact Myles Garrett has had on games. The extra possessions he generates has been huge. He has single-handedly given them many chances to win with subpar quarterback play. Having an elite pass rusher with a solid quarterback will only help. A good quarterback needs to thread the needle sometimes. The right choice sometimes has bad outcomes, and knowing your defense can make late-game stops if you throw an unlucky pick late means you have the confidence to make the right decision and not throw checkdowns to avoid risking a game late. Wow, that was a good breakdown by Michael. Sam says, yes, big time. Tony says, yes. Joe says, absolutely. You get a star on both sides of the ball. And Joseph says, yes, some good love for Micah Parsons in his ability to help Jordan Love and take the pressure off of Jordan Love. Those comments were read from the Thunder MKE Facebook page. Remember, you can also chime in at the Mitch Nelles profile, also at the Fan Milwaukee on Facebook and on YouTube. And of course, you can always text us at the Nicolay Law Fan Talking Nicolay Law Fan Talking. Yeah, I got that right. Yeah, Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. 608 writes in, this is definitely the Micah Love season from Donnie Kahn at St. Luke's Hospital. Midday Thunder, better than some, I don't know if I can read that on the air. Better than lots of things. Let's just say that, Donnie Kahn at St. Luke's. I don't know if the drugs are, I don't know if he we talked about the drugs earlier with Rainbow Trout. Donnie Kahn is at St. Luke's. He's probably on more legal drugs, but he's feeling it as he should be. 414-677-1250 is the phone number if you want to chime in. Does having a star like Micah Parsons take some of that pressure off of someone with Jordan Love? Because before Micah Parsons got here, I think we can all agree all the magnifying glasses were on Jordan Love coming into the season. Everybody was waiting. Can Jordan Love regain that magic of the second half of the first year as a starter when he brought them through the playoffs and into San Francisco and made some bad throws in that game, but they could have easily won that game in San Francisco and then faced Detroit in the NFC Championship game that year. And then last year gets hurt at the very end of week 1 on a bad field against Philadelphia. And he got hit and it was a bad field. And was never really that guy that we saw his first year as a starter. He had a great quarterback rating this week, only 188 yards, but threw 2 touchdowns. Didn't need to do much else. Josh Jacobs got hot in the second half. They handed off the ball a lot in the second half. 16 completions, 10 different receivers. Can we say it again? Like if we said, is that like number, like, I know you don't have a tattoo of that, Charlie, but like you've heard that number enough now.
Yeah. It's tattooed in my brain.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly. So the magnifying glass, the pressure was fully on Jordan Love, all OTAs, all spring. Matthew Golden's here, giving him another opportunity to make plays. We know Christian Watson's out all summer long, all training camp, all controlled practices and scrimmages against other teams, the 3 preseason games, and then the trade made for Micah Parsons. And I think on some level, because we heard all the things, yes, Micah Parsons makes things easier, but on some level, there's going to be, whether it's this year or soon, a Super Bowl or a bust situation. I don't know that it's September 9th, in between week 1 and week 2 in 2025. I don't think we're at a Super Bowl or bust situation right now. But at some point in some game, as the Packers play 5 of their last 7 games within the division, as they fight to win their division, as they fight for whatever seeding is in the NFC, as they play a playoff game, that if Micah Parsons is healthy and the defense does its job, Jordan Love's going to have to do his. And as much as for a full season, for 17 games, yes, the pressure may be off Jordan Love to perform week in and week out at a very high level. There's going to be a specific instance. There's going to be a specific situation where Jordan Love is going to need to be him. And we will all find out together if he can be him. That's kind of the follow-up to this question. Like, yes, over the regular season, over 17 games, absolutely, Micah Parsons takes a lot of the pressure off of Jordan Love. But in the playoffs, when they need a play, tie game, down by 3, up by 7, they need a first down. They need to run the clock out. They need to get into field goal range. Jordan Love is going to have to get that done. And the question is, can he get that done? And I don't think we know that answer.
I don't think we've seen that answer yet. And I think with Jordan Love, yes, obviously Micah Parsons takes some pressure off of him. But I think kind of at the same time, Micah Parsons, that trade and that contract took pressure off of Brian Gutekunst, which I think ultimately put more pressure onto Matt LaFleur to perform this year as the head coach of this team. I don't think all of the pressure that's tied to Matt LaFleur is also tied to Jordan Love, but I think a majority of it is tied to Jordan Love, especially since Brian Gutekunst kind of saved himself from the massive contract that they gave Jordan Love last offseason, where he gets a Micah Parsons, and now you have a big contract for a star player on the offensive side of the ball and on the defensive side of the ball, and kind of has solidified himself as making at least a strong basis on both sides of the ball. I think Matt LaFleur now has to take that and turn it into something else. And if Jordan Love in these big moments like you're talking about isn't able to step up, isn't able to have that Jalen Hurts effect where when you are asked to be called upon, you are constantly there to step up, which I think is what he's going to need moving forward here. If he can't do that, then there are going to be problems, not really for him, but more for Matt LaFleur. And if there's more problems for Matt LaFleur, there are going to end up being more problems for Jordan Love.
Right. And that's where the pressure comes in. Brandon writes in on YouTube, fourth quarter play for Love is an enormous question mark. And it is. It's an enormous question mark. And granted, he's been a starter for 2 seasons in the league. We don't have the breadth of experience. We don't have all the documentation we're going to have 3-4 years from now. But what the Packers have done is take the pressure off of him during the season so that they can put him in a situation to make those fourth quarter plays when they're needed. Not September 9th, December 24th, January 16th, whatever those dates end up being when those games really, really matter. 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. That's the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line. Does Micah Parsons take the pressure off of Jordan Love? And when will we need Jordan Love? When will we need that Jordan Love that we all think is there? And wouldn't it be nice if we didn't need that Jordan Love? Wouldn't it be nice if the Packers just won on their defense all year long and Jordan Love just threw a couple touchdowns every game and just did his thing, and the Packers are up by 7 or 10 in the fourth quarter and the defense held and the offense just got a first down and that was it? Like, just boring, methodical winning by the Green Bay Packers. We know that's not reality, but how great would that be?
That would be pretty awesome. But also, I guess, just then, what was the point of paying him $55 million a year then? Like, if you feel like that you could have made this trade at some point, which apparently this wasn't just randomly in the last week. This is something they've been talking about for a couple months here.
Yeah.
I guess that if you felt like you had the pieces to go out and get a big time star and you were just waiting for Mark Murphy to step down as president in that situation or his time to come up so you could have a new president to pop in there with fresh ideas and give you that freedom, I guess, to say, then why would you, I guess, pay Jordan Love as much if you feel like all you needed was a game manager in those situations? I think Jordan Love is better than that. I think the Packers want to prove that he's better than that too. And I think that, yes, reality says that's not going to be the case where the defense can control like that. But even in the case that they do go 18 weeks of controlling the game like that, you still would want to let Jordan Love maybe use his arm a little bit and just lash out just to see that you got what you paid for.
Well, kind of like one of the I think Michael, the Browns fan, said, like, knowing you have that defense, let the offense take a couple more risks. Throw the ball downfield, throw it into tight windows because you know you have that defense. You don't want to take advantage of them. You don't want to mistreat them. But if some of those home run balls hit, all of a sudden, again, you're up. You got a 14, 21 point lead. And now the defense can really just pin its ears back and go after it. An important PSA, listener, for all our listeners, our shows are also wherever you can find your podcasts. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, wherever you get your pods. Catch the full episode of our shows, or you can listen by individual hour, or you can jump straight to the highlights. Yesterday, I will say, on our way to Monday Night Raw, we jumped right to, I knew which segment was Lyra Valkyria. We jumped right to that segment. And we were able to listen to that segment. It was great. So just open up your favorite podcast app. Lyra, by the way, did not come out victorious yesterday against Raquel Rodriguez. She's got a chance against Roxy Perez on next Monday to avenge that loss against the Judgment Day.
I blame that on you. I feel like you jinxed it.
I was cheering loud. I got a "Let's Go Lyra" chant going in our entire section. Like we were loud last night. So just open up your favorite podcast app, search the name of the show, The Mason Crosby Show, Middays with Thunder, whatever it might be. Hit the follow button so you get every minute of the show your way and on your time. We're going to get a little bit into our Milwaukee Brewers next. We've talked a bunch about them, and we're going to keep that going. The Brewers, of course, still with the best record in Major League Baseball. The Brewers still getting it done. With the lead the Brewers have, how do you play Christian Yelich the final 17 games of the season? What do you do with Christian Yelich, knowing he's not fully healthy? No one's fully healthy at this point, but he did just miss a few games with an injury. How do you treat Christian Yelich the final 17 games of the season? My name's Mitch Nelles. Middays with Thunder, 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan, from the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Why is the car in the front yard? And why am I sleeping with my clothes on?
That's what they're trying to figure out.
Why did I come in through the window last night? So weird. This is Middays with Thunder. My name is Mitch Nelles, aka Thunder. Charlie Usen is in the house as well. Charlie's just like getting down right now.
That's one of my favorite songs.
Yeah, I mean, well, it is no surprise to me that I am my own worst enemy. I mean, I feel like we're all our own worst enemy. That's a normal thing.
I feel like you should do like a spoken word album like William Shatner did. I think that'd be pretty cool.
So many years ago, when I was on across the station, a show called TNT that doesn't exist anymore, Ted, Needles, and Thunder. So Ted Davis, who was the play-by-play voice of the Milwaukee Bucks, Dan Needles, who was the sports director at Channel 12 before Dario was, and I were on the air. And with all, which means none, with all due respect to Ted and Dan, I wasn't necessarily young then, but they were significantly older than even I am now. Like, I know you guys all make fun of me for being old, but those guys were old. And so one of the bits we did when we started the show, I thought it was hilarious. We only did it for like a month. I think we did it for a couple months. I took whatever song was number one on the hip hop Billboard top 40 or whatever, and I would print out the lyrics and make Dan read them. Of course, there was some editing involved.
Yes, of course.
But this would have been, oh man, I should know the year. I don't know, like 2017-ish, 16 maybe. So whoever was big 9 years ago, I'm sure there were lots of littles and babies and little babies and baby littles and little baby.
Little Yachty.
Yeah, that was probably
there.
Yeah. I feel like that was right before Little Yachty.
That was like Broccoli. That one song. I don't know if you remember.
If you say, but we would make Dan read the lyrics, and then we would play the song for him. And they sounded significantly different.
I would assume so.
Yeah.
You should have done like the backing track and put him speaking over it. That would have been good.
That actually would have been really good. We didn't think of that. And now we can't do that anymore because we have all these YouTube rules, apparently. Right?
We're locked in.
We're locked in. We can't play music. We can't get Dan Needles doing spoken word.
We can still get people doing spoken word again. I
right.
think you could do
spoken word you could do.
But then you do a great album over there.
But then you couldn't have them do like spoken word of a Kendrick Lamar song and then play the Kendrick Lamar song.
You couldn't do that. Well, you could do it still on air. But.
Right. Yeah. It would be on the radio, but not on the YouTube channel. Got it. This is Middays with Thunder. Charlie Usen, Mitch Nelles here with you. And the Brewers game 2 of a 3-game set tonight in Texas, in Arlington. Are they actually in Arlington or are they like somewhere next to Arlington?
In Arlington.
Yeah. Are the Mavericks going to move to Arlington? There's some rumors that the Mavericks are looking to move to the megaplex that is Jerry World and where the Rangers play, which would just like, in my mind, kind of devastate downtown Dallas.
Probably.
I think it's actually a big deal for a basketball arena to be downtown. Even if the rest of the arenas aren't.
Especially in like Dallas again, where you've lost the other two.
Right.
It's nice to have that one there.
Houston's very similar. Houston, the basketball arena is right downtown, but the football stadium's like 20 minutes. So I've covered a couple Final Fours in Houston. And a number of years ago when I was there, let's see, of course, the Final Four is Saturday night, and then Monday night's the championship. And I think Sunday afternoon, the Thunder were at the Rockets. And I think Paul George and Russell Westbrook were still on the Thunder then, and James Harden and Chris Paul were on the Rockets. It was a big, I mean, it was like a solo. So I tried to get tickets, and just like the resale market was like, I wasn't spending a couple $100 to get into the building. But it was a regular season game. It was March, obviously, and it was a big deal. Like, there was a buzz for the Final Four, but the Final Four, again, was where the Texans play. It's like 20 minutes, half an hour out of town. This was right in the middle of downtown. I mean, everybody was wearing their Rockets gear. I don't think the locals really cared that the Final Four was in town. You know, that was the North Carolina-Villanova year. And that was an amazing, I mean, listen, we got a buzzer beater in the championship game. How can that be better? But the locals were really high on the Rockets at that point. As they should have been. I mean, the Rockets were really good. I think Paul got hurt toward the end of that year and it didn't go their way. But I do think there is buzz when your basketball arena. And it's why I like where the Bucks are.
It's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's really good. Part of me. All right. I'm going to throw this out. We'll get to Christian Yelich in a second. If they had taken, I don't know if they, where Summerfest is and made that AmFam Field, how would you have felt about a baseball stadium on the lake downtown?
I think it would have been pretty cool. I always like having stadiums like on the water. I think that's usually one of my favorite locations to do it. At the same time, just where it is also feels iconic. Just right off the highway there, you can see it approaching as you kind of go to the city.
From all the different, from more from east and west.
Right. And I think then the Henry Meyer Festival Grounds is also iconic in its own right. You don't really want to change anything about that.
No, you're right. It is. I agree with you. I mean, I think with tailgating being such a big part of our society here culture in southeastern Wisconsin, I do think having a stadium downtown or downtown adjacent on the lake could have been like unbelievable. It could have been so cool. I think it would have been an absolute nightmare to get to. And it, it's just like, it's not in a thoroughfare. It's not anywhere people are. I don't think it would have ended up working in a way unless, the complete infrastructure of Milwaukee and southeastern Wisconsin was changed. And I don't think that was, I don't think that was part of the conversation. So 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line. 414-677-1250. Just throwing out some thoughts there as we get to game 2 between the Rangers and the Brewers tonight in Texas. Texas Rangers, of course, as we mentioned, what did we say? They're like a game and a half out of the wild card. We're up 1.5 games behind Seattle. They're there, and we saw Christian Yelich absolutely smoke the ball last night. Like he hit the ball really hard. I think he went 1 for 4. I don't think he had a great game, but I know even he made the last out of the game, and on that one he absolutely smoked the ball. Like he was hitting the ball hard. It looks like the days off helped him. And so my question is, even with the number of days off that the Brewers have in September, which is significantly more than in August, which will help this team, and knowing that if they get the 1 or the 2 seed, you do get 4 or 5 days off before you have to play a game. Are you a little more careful with Christian Yelich in September than you ordinarily would be, because he did just miss a few games? You want him healthy. You want him as juiced, energized. I shouldn't say juiced, right? As energized and as healthy as possible going into the playoffs. I think that that's what that makes the most sense. But you also don't want him to get, there are going to be all those days off. So you don't want him to get, you don't want, you run the risk of him not being game ready if he takes too much time off. 414-677-1250 is the Nicolay Law Fan Talking text line. Ram is on the north side. Ram, you're on Middays with Thunder. What's up, my friend?
Hey, Middays with Thunder. Nice ring to the show.
Let's
you got
go,
the
baby.
Thunderbolts up there on your
we should have Thunderbolts up. That's a great point. I like that.
That's no charge. That's pro bono.
All right, I appreciate you, Ram.
Hey, couple things. I think Murphy and the Brewers staff, I think what they're looking at is between Yelich, Vaughn, and Hoskins, they got 3 power hitters. Yep. Now, one thing we got to remember is when the Brewers, when they run to where they at now, that's when Hoskins got hurt. Yeah. And they just went a phenomenal run from the end of June to what?
Even end of May. Even the end of May. Even the end of May, Ram. Yep.
Yeah, so that record is just, they just ran in front of the whole league. But I think right now, then we got to remember, I think Charlie missed this a couple of days ago.
He's so
that
smart.
The Brewers played like 24 or 23 games in 22 days.
Yes. Yeah, they were tired. They played 19 games in 18 days in August.
I don't know who did the scheduling for that, but that guy needs to get a visit by the goons. But then the other thing is, now this is what I don't like about the lakefront here. Why don't we have a Grant Park like they have in Chicago?
Because
No, I used to go when I was living in Chicago when Jordan was first there.
Yep.
He would pull up at the park and be playing.
Yeah.
Like he'd pull up and he said, "Who got next?" And of course they run the court. But why don't we have a park on the lakefront?
I mean, we have McKinley Marina, we have Bradford Beach, we have Summerfest. So we have spots, but you're right. We don't have like athletic. There's Lake Park has some tennis courts, but it's just not. It's never been the culture here in Milwaukee to have that, and I think because we've really bought in on the Summerfest culture. That Summerfest has gotten a good amount of that lakeside real estate. Whether that's you can make the argument whether that's deserved or not. Like Summerfest does a lot of good things, but they also do a lot of selfish things.
It manages. It has four full court basketball courts on the Summerfest grounds.
I'd love it. That were open year round or summer round or whatever. Yeah, I mean, it would be great. I mean, I think, again, Ram, you run into downtown Lakefront is not easy to get to in Milwaukee. 794, as much as people love the hone and the lights and all that, like it's not easy to get to. More often than not, you got to drive through part of downtown. Parking's not easy. Parking's expensive. We don't have structures the way we should have parking structures around Summerfest. And so Summerfest is, so the lakefront is a little bit of a mess in terms of anytime there's an event, there's huge traffic congestion. Our urban planners planned for the park, but didn't plan for the traffic.
Time for a little change.
Maybe, Ram.
We built Fiserv.
You're right.
I'm just saying.
Absolutely. That's a great point. Ram, you still there?
Yep, I'm here.
I was just say, how you feeling about our Packers?
They look good so far, but I'm agreeing with you and Charlie. It's going to come to a point where Jordan Love is going to have to perform, and you can't win by committee, not in pro sports. You can't win by committee because defenses got tape on you, and they can stop you. So he has to perform, and those receivers got to reform. And we can't put all the weight on Josh Jacobs and the defense. No,
I think that's right, Ram. That's a great point. Thanks for the call. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for the call. Yep.
You bet. That's Ram on the north side. He drops off. You jump on 414-677-1250, 414-677-1250. So I think, you look at the last 17 games and you look at keeping Christian Yelich healthy. And I think that's the name of the game, is that you got to figure out a way to keep Christian Yelich active, to keep him healthy, and to, you don't want to run into, we talk about this in football all the time. Do you give your guys off week 18? Do you give your guys off that week if you've clinched a playoff spot? Well, then they get rusty. And then, how are you managing their rust versus their activity? We look at the month of September. It is September 9th. The Brewers have only hit 5 home runs in September to this point. Jake Bowers has one. Isaac Collins has one. Bryce Strang has one. Jackson Chourio and Caleb Durbin. And I think, back to our conversation from yesterday about the concern about the power with this team when it comes to being in the playoffs. Part of that, Yelich hasn't played. We'll see if Rhys Hoskins comes back, in what form. Is he a pinch hitter? Is he playing first base? Is he platooning with Vaughn? What does that mean for Jake Bowers? William Contreras has 1 double, no home runs in the month of September. Sal Frelick, 1 double, no home runs in the month of September. Andrew Vaughn does have 3 doubles. Andrew Vaughn has been hitting better. Andrew Vaughn's hitting 476 in September. Andrew Vaughn is absolutely raking, leading the team with 10 hits, 3 doubles, leading the team with 13 total bases. Only has 1 RBI. That's weird. I wonder of those 11 at-bats where he doesn't have a hit, like how many of his 10 hits are without anybody on base, and how many of his other 11 at-bats have people on base? Is he just getting unlucky that his hits, or is it just our pitchers bearing down on him more when there are runners on? That's a weird stat to be 10 for 21 with 3 doubles in the month of September, to be hitting 476 and to have 1 RBI. That's weird.
It is really weird. I mean, he has 5 strikeouts on the season, so 11 of those at-bats ended in strikeouts.
Okay. Yep.
So you can't really get an RBI from that. So really, it's 6 at-bats that you could potentially get an RBI in. that were not ended up in hits. I think that is really strange for him. I'm pretty sure actually, or no, that probably was last month. At the end of last month, he had a string of just like 2 ground outs that ended in RBIs later on.
Right.
I think that was last month at the end there. But it feels like that happens to him more often than almost anybody else on this team.
Yeah, just like a random ground out that either is hit so softly that they can't double him up because it's not like he's fast, or that it ends up getting a run in because it's less than 2 outs and they just take the out at home because it's softly hit. But you're right, and I wonder how many of those 5 strikeouts have men in scoring position, have men on, just a weird, But you know what? If you're 10 for 21, keep doing it. At some point, that's going to even out. If Andrew Vaughn keeps hitting the way he's hitting so far in the month of September, that is absolutely going to even out. We'll be back to wrap things up here on Middays with Thunder. Remember, Wisconsin Sports Daily is coming up next. And as part of Wisconsin Sports Daily, Sparky's got Drew Wagner coming on at 3:20. Our Milwaukee baseball Forbes Brewers writer, insider Drew Wagner joining Sparky at 3:20. They're going to be talking right there on the Fan, and can't wait to hear what Drew has to say about the Brewers series with the Rangers. Remember, tomorrow I will be at Potawatomi Sportsbook. I'm excited to be there. I'm going to be there from 11 to 2, but I'm probably going to be there a little bit earlier. I'll probably jump in on the Mason Crosby show from there. Tommy will be back here in the Fan Studios, powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. So I'll be in the Potawatomi Sportsbook, and he'll be powered by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Mason Crosby is back on the Mason Crosby show tomorrow as well. So we should have a lot of fun. I know Ty Dunn is going to be on the show. He just wrote a really interesting article about Caleb Williams. Our buddy Andy from Verizon is going to be on the show as well, telling us about all the great things. I got my new Verizon phone. It's really good. It is. It's just really good. Like I'm a Verizon guy. So you could be something else, and that's okay too. And maybe you've had great service, and that's great. And we're all happy for you. But I've had Verizon forever, and I've always been happy with the service, and especially with the team at Bayshore. They do. That's my guys. That's my peeps over there at Bayshore, the Verizon store. They do a great job. We'll be back. We'll talk about the Brewers game tonight specifically. Tuesday nights are always weird, right? Like what do you do on a Tuesday night during football season? What do you do on a Tuesday night during football season? We'll get to that next on Middays with Thunder, 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan, free on the Odyssey app. We are the Fan. AJ Lee stealing the show last night at Fiserv Forum. AJ Lee made her triumphant return to the WWE Universe Friday night on SmackDown to confront Becky Lynch, the man who was putting her hands on CM Punk. And of course, CM Punk wouldn't hit a lady, so he didn't hit her back. But his wife, AJ Lee, certainly did Friday night and will again at WrestlePalooza. The first merging of WWE and ESPN. We're in a new partnership, and we'll be keeping our eye on that. That's Saturday, September 20th in Indianapolis. Charlie, what do you think about WWE and ESPN getting into bed together? They've tried partnerships in the past. It hasn't really worked. It's funny because like there's a tab on the ESPN app where you can click on WWE for news, and like for they would update like every Monday night or every SmackDown. And then when they got out of their partnership, it'd be like 6 months and there'd be like no headlines at all. Like it's like ESPN completely ignoring it. Now they're back all in on like, and I don't know if there's the right time for them to be all in or not, but it sure seems like they are jumping into bed with each other.
I mean, it seems like the right time to be jumping in on it. It seems like the Netflix and their partnership with the WWE has done pretty good. They've been able to get a lot more promotion out just kind of into the world that I feel like I've ever seen in my lifetime, at least since like John Cena was in his prime at that point. And that was the last time that I really remember hearing that much WWE news. And now lately it's just kind of everywhere. You have guys like Seth Rollins going on Rich Eisen and being a guest host, or Triple H on Pat McAfee earlier today. I mean, you're seeing it just out in pop culture more often again, which I think is the perfect time for a company like ESPN to try to get back in on it.
Well, and I think part of it is that ESPN is now selling themselves a la carte for $29.99 a month. And part of it is like, can they get the wrestling fan to do that? And I know that Netflix has Monday Night Raw, USA Network still has SmackDown. The pay-per-views are now the premium live events worldwide are on Netflix, but in America only have been on Peacock. And now those are moving to ESPN, and we'll see how that goes because a lot of WWE fans are very upset because what they were playing for Peacock is not what you have to pay for ESPN. I guess I'm blessed to have an ESPN account, and I do pay for it, but you know, I'm interested to see where that goes. The Brewers are in Texas tonight. It is Chad Patrick taking on Jack Leiter. The Rangers are in all-in win mode right now, a game and a half out of the playoffs behind Seattle. The Brewers, of course, working to fend off the Philadelphia Phillies and the Chicago Cubs. I just want to see Chad Patrick throw strikes, man. Like, I don't want to, like, I feel like the Chad Patrick we saw the first couple months pounded the strike zone, gave up some hits, but like got guys out, wasn't a big strikeout guy. And the Chad Patrick who's come back for spot starts has been like a tentative, timid Chad Patrick. And I don't want tentative, timid as my starting pitcher in Major League Baseball. I want Chad Patrick to go at hitters. I want him to throw strikes. I know Murph really wants strikes. We don't want walks. We don't want leadoff walks. That's for sure. I can't talk enough about how much I hate leadoff walks. I love Bryce Strang. Bryce Strang is one of my favorite Brewers. I know Tommy is like Mr. Bryce Strang, but I've also loved Bryce Strang since he came up, mostly because in high school, I was the second baseman who couldn't hit. And that's what Bryce Strang came up as. Well, now he can hit. But you got to make that catch. I mean, you got to make that catch for your pitcher. Whether it's you and Vaughn communicating better or taking a better angle or keeping your eye on the ball, don't worry about if you're going to collide with your teammate. It's Vaughn's job to get out of the way. That was not a great look last night, but I'm excited for tonight. And I throw that question real quick, like, Charlie, what do you do on a Tuesday night during football season? I mean, I know baseball's on. I know we're going to be watching the Brewers game, but like, there's no football this Tuesday night, I believe. I don't know if there's any football tomorrow night, Wednesday. There might be FCS. But
Action, baby.
I don't think that, I was looking it up. Yet? I think Maction's not till Thursday. And I think Mac doesn't take over on Tuesdays until a couple weeks from now because they're not playing conference games yet. So what do you do?
I don't know. You watch baseball, like you said. I'm a guy that's constantly looking at my fantasy team, so I'm going to go and update my rosters and everything to stay within the football mindset because you got to stay there. I mean,
get all your transactions in, right?
Exactly. It's really Tuesday is for catching up on the news that may have happened over the weekend from like the football world if you're trying to stay within that football mindset. and hearing all these injury reports, hearing from the different coaches and what they had to say about last week's performance. It's fun to just kind of catch up on that again if you're a true NFL fan.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. And I'm also excited for to be able to focus on the Brewers a little bit tonight. I know last night I was busy, but there was also Monday Night Football that a lot of us were watching. And it's going to be fun to have the opportunity tonight to see what Chad Patrick can do, what this lineup can do. Because every win just gets them closer to the franchise record of 97. Everyone gets them closer to winning the NL Central. Everyone gets them closer to winning the National League and being that number one seed, which would just be absolutely fantastic. Wisconsin Sports Daily with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, served up by Wendy's. Coming up next, 3:20, Drew Wagner will be on the show for his Brewers update. I'm sure Sparky's talking lots of Packers, Micah Parsons, Jordan Love, all the good things coming up with Sparky as he holds it down every day from 2 to 5 right here. Remember, we are local 8 to 5 every day. Pack-A-Day Radio from 8 to 9, the Mason Crosby Show 9 to 11, Middays with Thunder 11 to 2, and Wisconsin Sports Daily served up by Wendy's with Steve Sparky Pfeiffer from 2 until 5. It's going to be a blast. Charlie, at 3:40, just like see if laughter ensues or if you drive Sparky crazy, that's your job.
That's what I do best.
That's what you do best. He's Charlie Usen. My name's Mitch Nelles, a.k.a. Thunder. This has been Middays with Thunder. Remember, we are at the Potawatomi Sportsbook tomorrow. Lunch is at 12:30. So if you want to get over to the Sportsbook tomorrow at 12:30, ask for Thunder. I'll be upstairs in the private area. But if people come up tomorrow, I will come down. If people come get to the Sportsbook, I will absolutely come down and have lunch. Appetizers on me. Lunch is on you. I'm not buying your lunch. But I'll buy appetizers for the table if we get people there tomorrow at the Sportsbook. Should be a blast. He's Charlie Hughes, and I'm Mitch Nelles. We are 1250 AM, 105.7 FM, The Fan, free on the Odyssey and iHeart apps, free on YouTube at The Fan Milwaukee. Sparky and Wisconsin Sports Daily, served up by Wendy's, is next.